All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the clip. We are going to study the elements of plot with this piece. These literary terms are important, and you'll see them on different assessments that we have. So in Google Classroom, go ahead and pull up your copy of the Highwayman plot chart. And we're going to work through some of this together, and then I'll give you time to chat with your podmates about this. So I will pause, go ahead and find this slide. Okay, so the exposition is the first part of plot, and that is just where we meet our characters and how the story setting gets started. And so where are we? Well, we're with Bess and the Highwaymen, and they meet at the inn. They're out on the English moors in the countryside, and it's very remote, and it's at night. So there's our exposition. With your little partner, you have to decide, what do you think is the complicating moment, the trigger event that, boom, it puts the plot and the momentum forward into our story? What is the real problem that gets introduced? So you'll decide that. I put in your first piece of rising action, and you can have two little scenes in each box or just one, but this one, it kind of makes sense. Well, they have their conversation, they kiss, and then I'm just going to abbreviate Highwayman to HM. The Highwayman exits. After that, what happens? Doom, doom, doom. The last piece of rising action before we reach the big climactic moment is Bess's struggle, right? She's bound, she's tied, she's reaching for that trigger. And I think you know the highest point of emotional tension in our piece and the greatest piece of suspense. You know the climactic moment because the story will go in a new direction. So please identify that. And then what's the following action? That's usually very brief. And then how does our story end? Okay, so we just want you to work through this and then think about, what is the real conflict? Person versus what? Is it person versus person? Is it person versus society? Like they're taking on a large group in law, and or is it person versus self? What is the true conflict in this piece? And then what might be a life message or a theme? So I'm going to pause, and I'd love for you to take probably between 5 to 10 minutes to identify the complicating moment, this piece of rising action, the climax, falling, and resolution, and then think about conflict and theme, and then we'll discuss. Good work. All right. So after Bess and the Highwayman meet, Tim is listening to this. He overhears the Highwayman's plan to return. So Tim is indeed the complicating moment. The kiss, the Highwayman exits, and then, of course, King George's men invade the inn and terrorize Bess, drink her daddy's beer, just unjustified. Bess is struggling, but the climactic moment is she's able to warn the Highwayman with her death. She pulls the trigger and shatters herself in the moonlight. The following action, the Highwayman, what does he do with that, right? How does he try to solve this problem? He comes riding in all crazy, waving his sword in the air. He avenges Bess, and he is killed for doing so. But the resolution is their spirits still continue to meet in the afterlife. And I want to put instead here that their love endures. I put their life endures, but rather it is their love that endures and continues on. So what would we say then is the conflict here? I think the conflict is person versus society. We have Bess and the Highwayman, and everybody's against him. They have to meet in secrecy on moonlit nights because her dad would not want her daughter dating a bad boy. King George's men is against them. Tim is against them. Their love is sort of this illicit thing because he is an outlaw, and he is taking on society and committing wrong. So it is person versus society. And this message, this theme, yes, they died, physical, bodily deaths, but their love endures, and their love can endure all things. Love is timeless. Love is eternal. So a life message such as that would be really powerful. In the bottom, what is our setting? My little toolbar's in the way here, but the setting here, you know what country it takes place. It takes place in England, in Britain, out on the moors where they're known for wild weather, and it's kind of this swampy, marshy land, not a lot of trees. It's just open, so the winds get real whipping through there in the English moors in the 1700s. And in the 1700s, outlaws could be shot without not innocent till proven guilty. They could be shot on sight. So 1700s out in Britain in the moors. And our genre here, this is a poem. It is very lyrical. We have a lot of beautiful things here like rhyming, repetition. We have so much figurative language. That's going to be our Wednesday work. We have imagery. It's written in stanzas. It has a lot of rhythm, but it is a poem that tells a story. So our genre here is a narrative poem. And the Highwayman, he is not telling it. It is about Bess and the Highwayman and King George's men. So we use terms like he, she, and they. And so it is third person point of view. And so I will pause, and you may leave this up here to get your notes, but person versus society, our message of love enduring all things, the setting being out in the British moors in the 1700s, and a narrative poem told in third person point of view. Okay, so make sure you have that. I will pause. To wrap up our work today, you're going to get some thinking time to do some analysis work. And so our final item is the Highwayman Critical Thinking Poem Analysis questions. And this will spill into your Wednesday work tomorrow at home. So you have the rest of our English time to complete these questions. And then tomorrow you're just going to do a little bit of author's techniques, do some noticing, and then hand all of these questions in together for 20 points. So when you find this in Google Classroom, and teachers, you can pause if kids need to find it. But the first question is, what evidence is there to suggest that Bess and her highwayman, they have met before on moonlit nights, right? This is not their first rodeo. How do you know? Okay, so we need some evidence there would answer that question. Question 2, what are some details that make the highwayman appear romantic and dashing? So he's a criminal, but he's not like some dirty scumbag you'd see like on, the show Cops, like bad boys, what you gonna do? Or he's, wearing a wife beater, getting taken away in handcuffs and all scruffy, right? What makes him romantic and dashing, even though he is indeed a bad boy? We know the color. What color seems to be very symbolic in the poem, and why? Well, let's just say it's red. We have the landlord's red-lipped daughter. She's plaiting a dark red love knot into her hair. The highwayman is marked in red. He's wearing a claret red jacket. The King George's men, the messengers of death and evil, are wearing, they're a red coat troop. So red is repetitive. But what does it symbolize? That's the deeper question in this poem. So number 3, what does red symbolize? 4, the setting. It is a remote location out in the moors at night, and it's a moonlit night. What makes it romantic? The final 2 stanzas. The font changes to italicized print, and it repeats the opening when Bess and the highwayman meet. What does this suggest about their love? And line 90. They kill him. He's dead like a dog on the highway. Should the poem just end there? Why not? Why is it more effective to continue? Explain. Okay, so this is your work for the rest of the hour, 1 through 6, discuss with your podmates. And then tomorrow we're going to be working on just this little quadrant that will be your Wednesday work. So good luck. Thank you for enjoying The Highwayman, the most epic and narrative poem ever. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.